Hi, welcome to Which to Play. Today I'm going to be reviewing Darkest Night, a 1 to 4 player cooperative board game with a 5-player variant where you fight to defeat an evil necromancer. Let's do it. In this game, you're going to be playing 1 to 4 player characters. With the 5-player variant, you can play as the Necromancer, and you're going to be wandering around these lands to try and pick up relics to defeat the Necromancer in either one-on-one battle or doing a ritual at the monastery. This game shines with its replayability and customization of how you want to play. There are 29 different player characters that you can choose from, and each different team composition just changes the way that you play this game completely. And there are other ways you can customize this game too. There are different cards for maps and events that you can add in to change what types of things you're going to find as you explore this land. Are you going to find mostly artifacts and items and things like that? Or are you mostly going to be fighting blights, which appear on the board as the Necromancer walks around? So how the game works, you're going to be choosing to play one of the characters. Each character has a deck of skills that they're going to be choosing from throughout the game. You first choose 3 of 5 starting skills and place them in front of you, as well as place your grace, which is basically your health, and your stealth, which is how well you can sneak away from the Necromancer. After that, you set up the different blights that are along the map and place the Necromancer in the castle, and you're ready to start playing. How each turn works is at the beginning, you do any beginning of turn actions. If the Necromancer is on your space, or if you are holding a relic, then your stealth is going to go down by 1. And that is very important because the Necromancer at the very end is going to roll to see if he can find you. After that, you are going to pull an event card. These event cards have different consequences. They could be beneficial to you or they can be negative. After that, you do your action. You have many different actions to choose from. You can move 1 space, you can search at the location you're at, you can attack, you can meditate to gain 1 spark, which helps you do extra rolls if you need to. Or any card effect, retrieving a holy relic if you have enough clues, and lastly you can pray, which helps you heal and refreshing any powers that go away during the game. How you win is by doing either one of 2 things. You can collect 3 relics, go back to the monastery and do a ritual to banish the Necromancer from these lands, or you can collect 1 relic and then fight the Necromancer head on, and if you do a killing blow, then you win. There is also a lose condition. As the game goes on, the Necromancer and other card effects are going to be adding blights or monsters and negative effects that go in the map. If ever you have 4 blights on the monastery, you lose the game. Your land is overrun and there is nothing left that you can do. The only way to get blights onto the monastery is if any of the other locations gets over 4 blights in their location. After that, it carries over onto the monastery. So how you get relics is you can search at each location. On the map, you can see what types of items or clues you can find at each location. So, for example, the swamp is mostly leveling up items and materials, whereas the ruins has a lot more of the clues that you would need, or unraveling mysteries, which are sort of extended events that get you clues in order to get enough to be able to pick up a relic. Now you need 10 clues in order to pick one up, so it's going to be a big balance between managing your blight and finding clues and leveling up your characters to be able to tackle this stuff a little bit easier. After you do your action, it is the Necromancer's turn. On his turn, he is going to increase darkness by 1. After you reach a certain amount of darkness, you're going to get a permanent darkness debuff card that will affect the board. Then after that, he rolls to see if he can see anyone, and then moves towards the closest hero that he can see Or if you can't see anyone or there's a tie, you look on the board and whatever roll he lands on is which direction he goes in. And then finally, on the location that he is at, he adds a blight onto the board. Now, what I really liked about this game was its customization and its replayability. There's so many different classes and every single one feels so unique. As the bard, I get to sing and buff my friends, whereas in the wind dancer, I get to move really fast or roll a lot more. And there's 29 other ones, which I haven't even had the chance to finish yet. And each one really has its own unique flavor and skill. And sometimes you can find really nice combinations between your class and a friend's class to be able to win the game. Another good thing that I really liked is that this game is pretty easy to pick up for beginners to intermediate players. The rules are really straightforward, the goal is really straightforward, and the strategy really comes from how you level up, how your characters interact with each other, and what you do on the board, which is really nice when you want to introduce something to a player that's maybe scared to really go into their first big board game. Now, some things I don't like very much. While there's so many unique combinations of players that you can be, sometimes you end up making a combination that just doesn't work out. No one can really work together with the way that the characters are made up, and it makes the game harder when you didn't try to make it harder. It's not an option that you did to make it harder, it just ends up being really hard, and that can feel pretty bad, especially when you're trying out something new for the first time. Another thing that really bothers me is the randomness. This game has a bit too much that is random. And for example, if you really need a clue in order to get the 10 clues that you need to find that relic so you can fight the Necromancer, you end up getting something that you don't need, like a really small level up or a walking potion or something like that, and it feels really bad, especially if that happens 2 or 3 times in a row. One good thing is that each turn does go by pretty fast per person because all you're doing is one action, but with the one action, say the only action you can do is move because you're trying to get to the swamp, then that's it, that's your whole turn, and you have to slowly wait for each one of your next turns in order to do the next thing. And finally, with the randomness, when you want to level up your character and you really need a card that'll work out with the rest of the skills that you've gotten, and you only get one of the level ups where you just pick the first 2 cards in your deck and nothing works out, that can also feel pretty crappy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Another thing that's not a huge deal, but isn't exactly in its favor, is that there are so many little pieces. All the blights have to be organized before you start the game, as well as all the different little tokens. And I know there are many other games that have a lot of other tokens, but especially for this game where you want to just put it down really fast, play for an hour, hour and a half, and then be on your way or do it again, setting it up and having someone that's constantly looking for each little blight as it gets put on the board can be a little tedious. Also, having a lot of the items that you could get being based off of a roll makes the randomness even more frustrating when you don't have enough dice that you can roll, or you roll the dice and nothing ends up in your favor. And that's my review of Darkest Night. I think it's a easy to pick up cooperative board game that's fun to put on the table for an hour. Yes, the setup is a little bit long and the rolls can be kind of annoying, but I still think that having the different player combinations and having someone new to play every time just to see how they work out is a lot of fun. And I keep seeing myself put this on the board to try someone new. So consider Darkest Night the next time you're sitting down to play a game and you don't know which to play. See you.